Hello and welcome to another episode of the Backbone Zone. And damn, this was a sick one. Just did a podcast with Trey Jones. Amazing to talk to him. I've actually only spent a very brief amount of time with Trey, basically just complimenting him on his work on Swampfest back when he came to Australia for the Vans Pro Cup back maybe in 2019. But this one was super sick. We spoke about a lot of stuff. I respect the hell out of Trey, not just because of what he's done with Swampfest, but I mean, he just loves BMX, and that means that he's got strong opinions, and I was really glad that we were able to get into some of those opinions and just speak to him about BMX in general, his life, a lot of stuff, sponsorships and filming for video parts, and of course, making something like Swampfest happen. This was awesome conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it. One more thing. We have brand new Backbone tees that have just dropped yesterday on the website now. So please make sure you go and support Backbone. This is one of the tees, no weak links, and the other one. So we all know that BMX is rebellion, and that's what this stands for. This is the first shirt release since I announced that Backbone will no longer be a shop. So please make sure you support and go get yourself one of these shirts. I'm hyped on. I've got a few more releases coming up. But head to the website, backbonebmx.com, pick yourself up a tee, and now enjoy the podcast with Trey Jones. Trey, what's happening, man? We were just fucking...
What's happening?
Dude, you were just like, I just got secondhand anxiety, hey, from what you were just saying with Swampfest and organising. It's funny that you say that, we don't know how to do this.
I'm getting
shit,
sent out to war.
Yeah,
It's like I'm in the army. Not to degrade the army at all, but like it's like I'm getting sent out. Like I have to go out into combat for a month every year and deal with it, and it's just it's sick. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess I've actually got that on my little list of shit that I wanted to talk to you about. But do you have that? Do you have like anxiety building when you're building up to Swampfest? Because I'll preface it with this, right? So like, I run jams and shit, and Act Jam's grown to be pretty big for Australia or whatever.
I've heard all about it from Jason whenever he comes over. He's like, "Hey, you gotta come to Act Jam. You gotta come to Act Jam."
Yeah.
I'm like, I know.
I know.
I've heard all about it from Jace.
But fuck, man, when you run an event and everyone's having sick time and like people are getting loose as, and then someone eats shit or someone like fucking fireworks like goes off, and then all of a sudden like the seas part, everyone disappears into the shadows and looks at you like, you're the only one that has to be thinking like, fucking hell, like this is gnarly. Do you get that?
Yeah, it's horrible. It's like, because that's all people want to talk to me about too. They'll be like, "Dude, Swampfest, it's so fucking sick." Da, da, da. And I'm like, and I just like think of, I just like get flashes of just like being up for 3 days straight, freaking out because we don't have enough paint to finish the independent rail, and fuck, Home Depot's closed. Well, I'm gonna have to wait till the morning, and just like I just started thinking about all the shit that happens, but it's like I'm kind of used to things going to shit when we're building. Like whatever we always have like a theory of like, okay, in theory, we'll get the wood delivered, we'll build this. I think we can knock these few obstacles out in the first few weeks. Then we'll do this. Then you decide to build a pirate ship and you blow the entire build budget on just a pirate ship. That's way too much fucking work. It takes way too long. It's way too big. You're like, damn it, what'd I get myself into? And then you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I have to build a whole other event. So it's like things like I deal with stress. I don't want to say stress, but like I deal with like obstacles coming at me like decently well. Because I'm a pretty mellow guy when it comes to that shit, where like my brother is like, he's always like my voice of like, but dude, what about if this happens? And I'm like, I know. Yeah. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it can happen. Like, or every year we're always like, we build something And like, perfect example, like we built that pirate ship and like
Which is fucking
we
crazy,
built
by the way.
those huge masts. Those masts were so tall. They were like 60 feet tall, and we were like all looking at it. We're like, what if someone climbs to the top of this thing? Like, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, there's certain things that you can't control. You can like defer people and be or like I don't know what the right word is, but like you can try to put a barrier up
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like let's try to not get them to do that by like okay, like we wrap the poles in barbed wire, like maybe that would deter a little bit, and it did. Only one person climbed it, but like still, when the person at the top of it, I'm thinking about how there's only 8 screws in the bottom of that thing holding it up, and I'm like, dear God, please just get down and do not fall in front of all these people right now. Like, so it's like there's definitely a line of like you you prepare for the worst,
Mm.
but I feel like every year after I'm done, I feel like not invincible, but I feel like I can handle almost anything. Like this year after it rained and we covered shit, I was like, there ain't nothing that could ever stop us. Like there's
Mm.
literally like there's no way. Like we could literally take on anything going wrong. We could probably still pull it off. Not saying I want to deal with it and not saying I want to, but every year I learn something new of like, okay, well, whenever the rail breaks, what are you gonna do? Or whenever something's not possible. That's also the other thing, like building something that's like right on the edge of doable to where one person does it and that's it. So I
Mm.
built shit that I thought was crazy and instantly everybody starts doing it. And I'm like, oh, well, wasn't that crazy? And I've also built shit that's impossible. And then it's like, oh, nobody could do it. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's, but I don't know if it's answering your question, but like I don't have a handbook on how to do Swampfest. We're just a group of guys making it up as we go along and just going, I think that this is the best option. And just I asked the homies, like, you think this is a good idea? Like, how tall should this be? Everybody puts their input in and we're like, all right, and we go for it, you know? Like, but you
Mm.
can't like there's nobody to ask advice on for this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody. I am by my goddamn self when it comes to figuring out how to do this shit because I like we're just figuring out, which makes it cool. It makes it cool, and it was funny. We had like I had like an a meeting with some people that wanted to do a documentary on Swampfest recently, and
Oh wow.
they were like not like I mean I've literally not to that sounds weird, but like people hit me up all the time to do documentaries and I'm like, yeah, man, of course. Yeah, you know someone at Netflix. Of course, everybody does, like they all hit me up to do it and I'm like, yeah, man, for sure. And then I never hear from them ever again. So it's like I always like I never take it serious, but like I had a meeting, I was hearing this person out and shit. And they were like, we just love that, you guys are like out there, like, you're in the mud and you're doing it DIY and you're just like a group of guys doing it, whatever. Like, we just love that. And I'm like, I'm glad that like this torturous thing that I have to put myself through is like really amusing and like entertaining to you. It's not like we're like, hey guys, let's make sure that like we're real core when we do this and make sure it's DIY. It's like we have no other option. I only
Yeah,
have
yeah.
3 drills and a saw and a group of guys that can help. It's not like we like try to like make it this DIY. Like, it's just like I know a guy that can pour some concrete, so we made a bowl. Like I got some homies that want to build jumps, so we made jumps. It's not like it's this curated thing by like Pepsi or some shit that
Mm.
like we want to do a DIY event. It's just like we're just using what we got, man, because this is all we have. So it's
Dude,
but yeah,
that's
to answer your question, yes, it does give me anxiety. Yeah. I
yeah.
just get like I get like as you can tell, I just get bombarded with all these just like thoughts and situations and just all this shit where I'm just like, I think about from the consumer standpoint, and then from my standpoint, I'm just like, you have no idea what
Mm.
I have to
Oh,
and the shit
brother,
I have to deal with.
you've done a bloody good job at being able to handle
Oh,
that
thank you.
sort of fucking stress, man. I
Thanks.
mean, it's like
Appreciate
one of those things where like I can see exactly what you're saying with the whole DIY stuff, and from I guess it's kind of played out in BMX. No, it's not played out, but DIY, is obviously spoken about all that hardcore shit.
it. Yeah.
And I feel like you're just looking at a BMX event from a BMX's perspective, but without that limitation. You know, I think a lot of BMXers need to sort of hear that it's just fucking you and a couple of mates, or you know, like obviously a bunch of people helping, but like you've grown this event to a point where it's like you've got people hitting you up to do documentaries and shit on it. But at the end of the day, it's just you. Just you and a few homies that are like building shit because you want to. You know.
On that same tip. Sorry, my dog just busted in. He's like, of course, he's just poking in. But no. To your point though. To your point is that it started out as like, and this is obviously just my perspective because obviously I've had to deal with it. But like it started out as like, oh, this is an event that just like that Trey does in Florida. Like that's how it started out. A BMX thing that Trey does in Florida. And now it's to the point where like it's kind of grown into this thing where people know Swampfest and they don't know me. And they don't even know BMX.
Wow.
So like I walk around at Swampfest and like I'll tell someone to do something and they're like, or if I see someone, you know, like shoot somebody with a firework or something like that, and I'm like, yo, dude, come on, don't do that. And they're like, who the fuck are you? Like, and I'm like, bitch, are you serious? And I'm like, but then it's just a weird thing that has happened at this point that it has outgrown me as far as it's its own audience, which is cool because obviously I've been riding BMX forever and I've been a pro for a very long time, but like I'm not exactly in the cool guy crowd as far as like I don't really socialize with other BMX pros. I don't really go to California and go film Instagram clips at OB with all the cool guys. Like I'm not really a part of that. So it's like a lot of times people are like, oh, like a lot of pros from California and shit like that, they won't go to Swampfest because they're like, it's associated with, not that it's associated with me, but it's just not their shit. It's not their style. So it's like, it's now that it's like its own thing, I feel like people are like slightly a little bit more open to it because it's standing on its own 2 feet. It's not just my event that I do. It's its own entity at this point. Yeah. If that makes sense. It's like it's hard to explain, but no, I've just realized over the past few years that it's like changed. It's changed a lot into like non-BMX or skate people coming to the event and just wanting to hang out and watch, which is like I don't think there's any other event in BMX that's like remotely like that. Where
that's right.
But we just try to. That's what you get when you just try to make cool shit. Like,
totally.
We just simply just try to do cool shit. Like, and we're not trying to be cool. We're not trying. Or that's fine. I said not cool shit and try to be cool. But like we're not trying to fit the BMX mold.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I have no interest in fitting the BMX mold of like how people do things at BMX. Like I'm trying to just like be, you know,
freestyling, bro.
Yeah. Which I think a lot of people think that's funny that I'm saying that because I'm such a fucking BMX rule stickler about shit being cool or not. So
BMX riding is a sweaty exercise. Every time you sweat, you're losing electrolytes. Electrolytes are key for things like energy, for things like making sure that you don't cramp. I'm telling you, I've cramped up so bad in really pivotal times of riding, almost crashed because my arms are so cramped up, and it's because I've been losing electrolytes. Now you need to make sure that you are taking a proper electrolyte supplement. Don't worry about all of those sports drinks that you can buy at the servo. They're basically sugar water. You need to get something like Sodi. Sodi is an electrolyte supplement that allows you to get the right amount of electrolytes back into your body so that you can avoid things like fatigue and cramps and all of that other stuff, headaches. With Sodi, it comes in these little packets. They're easy to dispense. I put 2 in my pocket and take them to work. Literally, that's why you see my bowl in the background. I'm drinking electrolytes. I've been drinking electrolytes for years. Sodi is Australian owned. It's Australian salt, and it's got the right amount of sodium, potassium, and magnesium. If you would like to try Sodi, head to their website, sodi.com.au/Tyson, or use the code BACKBONE, one word, at checkout, and you can save 15% off. Electrolytes, man, I'm telling you, it'll change your life. Head to sodi.com.au/Tyson to receive 15% off. back to the show. Dude, I want to get into that in a little bit, but just to keep going with this whole thought process of events, you know, like I'm in the same vein. So like with Act Jam, I kind of want to get into this with you. Just like I want to give people like a breakdown, right, of how to fucking do an event, because people don't really.
Yeah,
they think
for
that
sure.
like
For
you
sure.
know, like they see your event or maybe Act Jam for the Aussies or whatever, like, and they're like, man, that's fucking crazy. They got all this shit and big jumps and fucking.
Yeah.
Dude, you just got to start. You know, like I'm sure that you probably saw your first year. If you went back and watched
street
your
jams.
Yeah.
Street jams are the way to go. That shit's free. It's out there. Go do it. Put a flyer out, gets people to meet up. It's free.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that's it. Like, you know, like, yeah, it's definitely, but yeah, I definitely did not intend on it being where it is when we started, obviously, you know, it just kind of like, and if my intention was to be where I am now, it probably wouldn't have worked at all. Like, he had no intentions of anything at all. So it just like, I think that's the most natural shit, is that it's like, I've said it before, I just wanted to create the event that I wanted to go to, that I've always wanted to go to. I was too young to go to a ghetto jam. I was too young to go to a metro jam. I never got to experience that shit. I wanted to create something that was not different than metro jam, obviously, but like a ghetto jam, you know, like it's
for sure.
But also like when I started Swampfest, like Texas Toast was still going, so I kind of had like some inspiration of like doing a road trip from Florida to Texas, going to an event, seeing people that aren't just there to compete, they're there to just hang out, and like, man, this is awesome, we should do an event. Yeah, like, you know, and it just kind of steamrolled into what it is. So it's like, I think BMX is definitely in a different state at that point of like events and stuff, like but like there was the Vans Bowl contest going on at the time, there was Texas Toast going on at the time, so like there was a lot of places to like pull inspiration from, you know, but hopefully somebody can pull inspiration from Swampfest to do their own thing. But yeah, dude, it's just like, I mean, we literally started out building garbage. I was just going out and collecting pallets every single weekend and finding wood, finding pieces of metal to stick together to make rails, and just finding garbage. Yeah, I was lucky enough that my buddy had a piece of property that he could do it on. Like, that was a huge thing. But as far as like budget, we had no budget. We had nothing. We had like, I literally got like a few $100 from each of my sponsors. And like, we just posted on Instagram that we're doing this jam, and people just saw what we were building and were like, we got to go to this thing. And then they went once and they're like, holy shit, this is the thing. You know what I mean? So it's, you just got to start, somewhere.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? Just build some garbage. And I see people do it. You know, it's sick whenever it's like, you know, obviously I was lucky enough to be a pro bike rider. So I had, you know, our BMX or Ride BMX coming out and did. And like, you know, I had like the outlets coming out and kind of gave me an upper hand because I was a pro bike rider. But at the same time, it's like, if your shit's good enough, people notice.
For sure, yeah. And you just got to keep doing it too.
Advice for other kids. Advice for other people. If you make something good, they'll notice it.
Yeah, 100%.
You gotta work for it.
But like, if you only did one Swampfest and then it just sort of faded off, you know, like you stuck to the fact that you were like, yeah, let's fucking do it again next year, and then again.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I. That's all I saw it as, is like, my buddy bought a piece of property. We were like, let's have a party and build a bunch of ramps and some jumps. And we did it, and we did one, and 1,000 people showed up, and it was sick, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it was like, the cops showed up. They said, the cops showed up. They said, you cannot do this. This is absolutely out of control. All right, cool. We like got it done. We did a fire. It was over with. And that was it. And it was done. No intentions ever doing anything ever again. And then Ronnie Bonner was like, hey, so when's the next Swampfest? And I was like, dude, they shut us down out at Jeff's property. Like, you can't do it. Like, you know, like, I don't have money to go. He goes, oh, you got to rent a venue. And I was like, I don't have the money for that. Like, you can't rent a venue. And he was like, no, dude, like, this is how it works. Like, him and John Paul Rogers kind of helped me, like, understand the structure of how an event works.
Yeah, I heard you talk about that. I'd love to know a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, like, basically, like, what they taught me is that they were like, you got to find a venue to do it at, like a space that can hold everybody. Because at the first one, we had ramps, we had jumps, we had camping. That was like the big three. That was like, it has to be a weekend long thing that people can camp at, it has to have ramps, and it has to have jumps. That was like our three like things that we have to have, and we've always kept that. And uh so I was like, I don't even know like what, I can't go to a convention center and do this shit, you know, like what like you know, what do you do? And Ronnie, I don't even know how it came about. Like I don't even know how, if I said it or whatever, but they were like, what about like a motocross park? And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. So then we just started looking at spots, and Ronnie and John Paul went with me because I found a spot that I was like, damn, this would be pretty cool. You could do ramps here. That was the spot in Astatula that we did 2018 and 19 at. And we just drove out there. It was like probably like an hour outside of Orlando. And we checked it out, and I was like, damn, yeah, dude, you could fit a bunch of people here. Look, they even have RV sites. Like, oh my God. Like, I kind of just like, my mind started racing. I was like, they have machines here. Like, dude, who knows what you could do here, you know? And I kind of just like talked to the owner, and I was like, hey, man, like, I want to do this. And I had Ronnie and John Paul with me because like I was 20, God, how old was I at that point? 25, maybe?
Oh, yeah, shit.
26. I was pretty young.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like imagine some like, you know, grungy looking white trash kid coming up being like, hey man, I want to do an event. And this guy is like, you know, he pulls up in his like, you know, F350 that's like all nice, and he has a world-class motocross track in the back, and he's just like, I'm not listening to a fucking word that this kid's like, I'm not agreeing to this. But I had John Paul and Ronnie with me, so I kind of had like backup as far as like old white guys that old white guys will talk to. And they were like, they kind of were like my voice of reason about like doing like, you know, talking about it and how, you know, how we could do it, because like I said, I didn't have any money, so I was like, yo dude, I'll like, you know, we can split the gate, and like maybe that it'd be a way we could work it out. And like I was like, I'll do all the work, I'll bring all the material here, I'll do everything, you just gotta let me do my thing out here, and then you'll collect a check at the end of the weekend, and that's it. And he was like, all right, like,
oh, cool.
Okay, like he gave me a chance.
Yeah, that's
and luckily I had enough steam from the prior year that brands were aware of the event, and I was like, hey, and then John Paul helped me like write like an actual sponsorship email that was like, hey, you know, I'm doing this is our attendance last year, you know, these are the videos from last year, these were the views that they got, and I kind of had like data to like back up my pitch of like why, you know, this is why you should sponsor my event, blah blah blah, like all that shit. And brands just like at that point in time, BMX was in a different place, you know, it wasn't as like, you know, as a lull as what we're in. So brands were like, all right, yeah, cool, you know, like, you know, sign us up. And I got enough money where I was like, dude, I think I can do this. Like, I think we got enough money to like buy some wood and like buy a few loads of clay. And like it's I mean, it was still like people helping out and like homies wanting to help out, and like Cody Diggs came down because he wanted to like get out of the snow and just build jumps. So like he was hyped to come down, and I helped him out. And then I had Herbach, and like I had a few other like local homies that were like down, you know. And that first one worked, and I was like, holy shit, like damn, maybe this is like something I can do, you know, like. And I also realized like the impact it had in BMX at that point, where I was like, damn dude, like, I mean, I think one of those Ride BMX videos had like,
dude, I saw that the other day,
10 million views or something crazy like that, like. And I was like, whoa dude, like this is pretty crazy, like like I didn't like think about, you know, it being this thing. And yeah, I just kind of steamrolled into that, and then I kind of just took that formula and just kind of just kept going with it. And then gone through all these venues closing, and finally found a new spot, or we're still at Waldo, the same spot from last year, but that was the thing. It was like, you know, the place in Astatula closed, and I had to find a new spot, and I found Spider. We did it there for a few years. Then that place closed, and I had to go to this spot. And it's like it was kind of like what I was saying earlier, where it's like I feel invincible as far as like, if the guy from Waldo called me right now and was like, hey man, I'm selling the property, you got to find a new place to do your thing, I'd be like, I got it. I'll go find a new plot. Like, you know, because I've done it. I've done it now so many times that I'm like, I know what to look for. I know what's good, what's bad, what I don't want. Well, like, and it's interesting, man. Like I said, the only advice that I kind of got was from Ronnie at that time, because obviously he came from doing Roots Jam and all that stuff. But even then, it's like Swampfest is not Roots Jam. It is way different, So it's like he just kind of gave me the structure of having sponsors, giving them a reason to sponsor, and how to rent a venue, and like that idea, because I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I still don't, but I feel a little bit more accomplished that I
for sure.
Right?
Yeah, I guess you've gone through a shitload of different experiences that allows you to just like, I can handle that shit. Yeah, it's
because there's no other way to deal with it. What am I gonna do?
Exactly.
Freak out and be like, it's canceled. Like, I can't do that. So it's like, no matter what, especially once you put the flyer out there and you're out building, it doesn't matter what happens. It does not matter what happens. It is going to happen. You have people showing up at 9 a.m. on Friday, and when that gate opens, they want their money's worth. No matter how you feel, what you went through, how much money you spent, they don't give a damn about what you went through. They want their money's worth because they took off of work. They drove 18 hours to get here. They're here for the weekend or flew from God knows where. And it's like, I have to put my own sanity and my own stress levels to the side. There ain't no time for that shit. Like, I gotta brain off. Like, we got to get these gates open and get this thing going. Because no matter how long we build for, it always comes down to the water. Every time. Every single time. Because we're building in a goddamn mud field. It's like, we don't have ground. We don't have ground to build on. So it's like, you got to think about putting plywood on the ground, and it just gets to be a lot. It gets to be a lot, but it is what it is. Like I said, as long as the people are happy with their spending their hard-earned money to come to the event, as long as they get their money's worth, and that's all that matters. So.
Yeah, for sure. I actually really love what you were saying about dudes taking off work and shit on the Friday, because I listened to the podcast you did with Ryan and Dennis, the BMX one, and you said, like, you want to do it for the blue collar BMX,
for sure.
And I think that's like, in this day and age with BMX, where like shit's obviously taking a turn and it's diverging. There's the whole Olympic pathway and all that sort of stuff. And then it's sort of like the opposite, so the DIY BMX is like, but no one's really speaking for them too much. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's going that direction, but nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
There's nobody not saying nobody's doing anything.
No.
I'm not. There are people doing stuff. There are people doing GMs. I'm not discrediting anybody that's doing it. But like, as far as people that are making a living off of BMX, brands, pro riders, they ain't doing a goddamn thing to help the situation for the consumer. The people that work all week, going to the skate park on the weekend, buying frames. Those are my people. That's the people that Swampfest is for. Like, I love Chris Doyle, but I'm not giving him a special wristband so he can skip the line or some shit. Like, you're in line with everybody else that paid their money to get here. And it's like, I think a lot of the times BMX focuses on the VIP, like, pro level guys. And then it's like the consumer is like, yeah, well, you just watch them and you buy their stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you're not catering to them in any way, like, or making them feel valuable. You know what I mean? And that's why it's like Swampfest is not to elevate anyone. It is to level the top of we're all equal. Because I want people to cheer just as much for Van Homan doing a bar spin to ice pick as a kid that does a 360 to fakie during a jam. Like, because that's the core of it. Like, like there is nothing for that person anymore. Not nothing, but like, you know what I mean?
Dude,
the mass majority stuff. It's like, they just want people to go on Instagram and go to the skate park, and it's like, we're not going to sell more bikes by doing that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that there's a real disconnect for sure. Like, that's the thing, the exact same thing that I do with Act Jam, or at least I try to do, and I think we think the same way. It's for like, sure. I don't want I don't want a kid to not be able to sit on the roll-in next to his fucking hero, you know, because he's 10.
That's that's what makes BMX cool, is that you can play basketball your whole life and you're never going to be on the court with LeBron James. But I can guarantee you that, like, most likely that Dennis Anderson or Garrett Reynolds might be at Swampfest and you can literally sit right next to him and session the same rail. Because you're all the same, you know? Like, you're all the same, and it's I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at with that, but it's like that's just it's something that I never intended to, like. It wasn't like the point of the event in the beginning. It was just, let's make some cool shit. We'll have a jam. Yeah. And then now I'm kind of realizing, like, oh shit, like now that I see the people roll in and I talk to the people that, that are attending when I'm not losing my mind, is that they're stoked on like what's going on. And I'm like, oh shit, it is like for those people. Like it is for those people. But I do start realizing that they're traveling to go see it and all that stuff. And it's like, that's why it's whenever you pay your money at the gate at Swampfest and you get a wristband, you are now considered a participant. You are now considered a participant, whether it's my 80-year-old grandma that comes or if it's a kid that just learned to walk. They are now considered a participant in the event, because it is for everybody. Like, it's for everybody to try. It's for everybody to ride. It's for everybody to do that, like, so it's, like I said, it was never my intention, but it has turned into that. And I try to like realize that and be like, okay, like, I need to try to focus on that, I guess.
Yeah. I want to just sort of touch a little bit more on what you were saying, where you don't think that, BMX, or at least like the people that are making money out of BMX, is doing a good enough job. Like, what's your thoughts on that sort of stuff? Like, what do you think that BMX... What's your opinion on what BMX needs to do? The BMX industry, BMX riders, things like that.
That's a huge question.
Yeah. We don't fuck around here.
What does BMX need? I don't know.
Or what do you love about BMX, and what do you think that would be sick to see,
so
moving forward in this day?
On that whole general topic, I started working closer with my buddy Chris Craigson, that is a skate for Thrash. And I started working closer with him and other skateboarders, and just going on trips with skaters, which is like weird how that just like happened, it's weird how all that happened. Like, but I became homies with Chris. He was like, let's film a Vans part. I started going on trips with Chris. He would bring other skaters. Next thing you know, it's like I'm on a skate trip. Like, it's weird how it all happened. But it was interesting that I would go on a trip and their mentality about how they approach stuff was like early 2000s BMX. Like, first off, you're on a trip, which people don't do trips at all anymore. Brands don't do trips, period. They just expect riders to sit at their house and film Instagram clips and expect to sell more bikes, which obviously doesn't work.
Nah.
Because here we are. It obviously doesn't work. But we're in a van. There's a filmer. There's a photographer. There's multiple skaters. Everybody's working on their part. Everybody's trying to get a sick photo for the mag. And nobody's really focused on their Instagram content. Like, they're all focused about making a quality product, because if they don't make a quality product, you'll have a guy in the van that is just now getting hooked up with Monster. He's trying to film this part with Chris, because he knows if he kills it and he makes something really, really, really rad and he gets a photo in the magazine with Tim, he'll get the bump. And that's their mentality, is like, I need to create the highest quality product that I can produce. Me, as a athlete, whatever, skater, that is their focus. Making the highest quality product that they can. BMX, we don't give a fuck, dude. We're shitting out content like it's going out of style. We don't care if it's good, if it's recycled. I'm guilty of it. I know I am. I'm not saying I'm holier than thou at all, but like, I try to film video parts. I try to do Swampfest. I try to do my part. I try to do the best thing I can. I know I'm a mediocre pro bike rider. I'm not saying I'm holier than thou at all. I'm not on Dennis Anderson's level. I can't even do a bar spin. I know that. I'm not saying that I'm great on it, like, some freak of nature on a bike. But I try to create the best I can. And I think that in bike riding, we have lost that. There is no urge to create content that is at your highest level. We're just going to the skate park and doing feeble manual around to feeble 180, expecting like 20 comments. And we're like, that's it. That's the top of the totem pole. There you go. And it's like, no wonder there's a lack of younger pros. You look at the age range in the X Games Street category. Look at where we're at. The youngest guy is who? Lou?
Yeah,
Felix,
sure.
maybe?
Yeah.
20. How old's Lou? 25,
yeah,
6?
probably 25
maybe?
or 6, yeah.
25 or 6. The youngest guy in the pro class. I am 32. Dennis Anderson is 33. Garrett Reynolds is 30, whatever. Like, what happens when we're all 40 and there is no next gen? Then what? Then what happens? Like, it's just like, not saying that I have an answer, but that's a weird fucking thing that's going on. That's a weird scenario. And there's a lot of other shit going on where it's like, we don't focus on shooting photos. I listened to the Brian Castillo podcast this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And Rooftop made a great point, is that they were like looking at the wall and they were like looking at the Vic Murphy photo, the classic Vic Murphy photo. They were looking at all the iconic, they use the word icons and heroes. And they were looking at all that shit on the wall and they're like, we don't have that shit anymore. And it's like, I was like, fuck, that's right. We don't. Like, and it's like, I'm not saying there's an answer, but it's damn sure a problem. And it's weird. And it ain't the world that I grew up in. Not saying that it needs to be that way. But I would argue that the early 2000s had more stuff going on. There was more events. There was more sponsors. There was more money. There was video games. It was off the fucking charts, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not talking about in a subjective way. That is a fact that there was more happening then than there is now. And it is bike sales prove that this shit doesn't work. So it's like, I just think that we let everything slide. There's no standard. There's no standard of like you think about Thrasher. They have even I see brands like a Monster or whatever in skate. They are so concerned with making sure that their skaters stay sacred that they almost don't even want them wearing a logo because they don't want it to ruin them. They're like, just do you, man. Whatever you just stay you. Don't worry about the logo. Just be you. Like somebody like Grant Taylor that skates for Monster. You wouldn't even know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But they want him to stay as sacred and iconic as possible, or where they're like, we don't want you wearing a huge Monster logo on your hat. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Just do you. Like, if you can put a logo on your board, that's cool, but just do you. And it's like in BMX, we want the face tattoo. We want logos here. We want you like, and if you're not producing a certain amount of content, you're cut. And it's like, that's just weird. That there's something different. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like we're sacrificing our product, maybe. There is great shit going on. There is great shit going on in BMX, and there is some awesome shit going on. There is people that are putting in a lot of work. Someone like Garrett Reynolds, A+++++ on what he does, how he does his shit. He is excellent for BMX. He does to a T exactly what we all should do. He's out there killing it. He's putting in quality products, quality clips, doing his job, runs a brand, like he's killing it, but it's like, I feel like not, and I don't want to like, I know people are going to give me shit about like comparing it to skateboarding, but it's just like, I've just like kind of seen where they're at, and how they treat stuff. And I'm like, holy shit, like even the AM kid is worried about like making sure he's putting out a quality product. And I think a lot of the times we just lost it. We kind of lost the icons, the heroes, the like, just like watered down. It's almost like if you leave a dirt jump out in the rain for too long and it starts out okay, and it's like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then after a week, you're like, oh, it's all right, it'll be fine. And you come back like a year later and it's just like a melted nothing. And it's like that, like, It's a slow progression. It's a slow, like slowly washing away to where now we're like left with just the dirt. And it's like, wait, what happened? It's like, dude, it's been progressing to this point. And I it's I don't know. I don't know the answer. And I'm not saying that I do, but it's definitely weird. And there's definitely something wrong. There's definitely something up with, shops shutting down, not selling bikes. All I know is that the people that do sell bikes, like, and that are doing well, are trying as hard as they can to put out a quality product, and putting and investing in what they got to do. You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to like spend $1 to make $10, or whatever it is. Like they don't want to advertise. They don't want to market their product. Like they just want to just post on social media and tag us. And it's like, we've realized that doesn't work. We've realized it doesn't work. Let's stop. Like just like watering these riders down to like they're just like posting machines at like their billboards. And it's just, kids see through that shit, dude. They see right through that shit. And they, it's, I don't know. It's interesting. Like I said, I don't have an answer, and I'm not an expert.
Dude, you've got a lot of experience within being a pro bike rider and stuff like that. So I think you've got a very valid opinion. It's interesting that you said that about the not being billboards and things like that. And the biggest thing that I think is that you're 100% right about no heroes. But then you look behind you at that Chris Doyle jersey that you got on the wall.
Jersey.
Yeah, the jersey. Yeah. So like him, Nastasio, who's like one of my all-time fucking favorite riders. All of the riders, like
at the corner, Nastasio jersey, right.
Oh my god, shit!
That's a nasty jersey right there in the corner.
Actually got a Huffy T-shirt signed when I was 13 years old when he came to Australia. This is like 1999 or some shit. Pretty funny, Penny. But
that's so sick.
And I fucked it up because I got
real quick on that point. This is a me and Nasty when I was 11 years old, and that is the jersey that he was wearing in the photo.
That's crazy. I can't believe you got that. How crazy is it?
Yeah, I ended up getting it from a dude. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, cause I don't want to interrupt. So
no. Well, like but that era, right? Like all those dudes were riding for massive corporate fucking people, and they were like billboarded from head to tail. You know what I mean? But what I actually think is missing from BMX is the storylines and the like putting people on a pedestal. Like as much as obviously it's all about DIY BMX, and it's like I'm gonna sound like a fucking hypocrite, but like we're all riding together, we're all BMXers, and I think that's great. But I also think that the kids the only people that are put on pedestals are the people that are, say, Olympic. Like it's all about the trick. It's not about the style. And I don't even mean the style on a bike. Like obviously you can have a fucking really good style on a bike. Yeah. But there's no like, I want to be nasty and fucking do my hair like him, and I want to be
because we don't have a standard like skateboarding. And I hate to keep comparing it. It's just that I've had my eyes open to it recently of like being more exposed to like how things work behind the scenes and stuff. Is that they don't let whack shit fly. They have a standard. They have a standard of what is allowed, and that might seem like gatekeeping, but their quality of product is up here. If nothing matters, if it's freestyle, you can do whatever you want, no rules, then why don't you just put your foot down on a manual? Why does it matter? It doesn't matter, right? There's no rules. There's no rules. Freestyle. Why land anything? Why land anything then? Because It's in our brain. It's in our brain that there's a way things are done. It's in your fucking brain, dude. It's not like that's just the way the world is. There's style for a reason. If you take style out of BMX, that's fine. That's fine. Make it pole vaulting then. Like, like or some bullshit thing that nobody gives a fuck about. Like, it's just like we have to have a standard of what is allowed because when you do that, it elevates the whole industry as a standard. Literally, one of the biggest priorities for brands in skateboarding is advertising in Thrasher, having a spread in Thrasher. Do you think that they're actually getting more sales for putting their ad in a print magazine in 2025? No. But they know that if you see like a 2-page independent truck ad, a lifelong skateboarder is like, fuck yeah, they're the shit. Like maybe not that one time, but after they do it a lot, or you see a new brand come up and they ran a 2-page spread in Thrasher, it's like, all right, they're legit. They have a standard.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just the way we work. And for BMX, we don't give a fuck. We will post anything that pays us. Any brand a brand comes in, they dump a bunch of marketing dollars into it. They pay our BMX to post whatever the fuck they want. They post it. The brand goes out of business. There's no more posting. And it's like, so what was the point? Like, obviously the post didn't keep the brand around, right? That didn't work. So we're just here. We're just like, it's like, it's just, and not to single anybody out, but it's just like these brands come and go. I saw like a bigger brand is like back again. They're sponsoring guys. And I'm like, come on now. How many times have you seen GT come and go where it was like, it was around the 90s. Then it was around with Jamie Bestwick and Dave Dillaward. Then it went under. Then they came back with, they have this resurgence every 10 years and it never works. And we give in every time and we dive in every time. We're like, that's so great. It's like, bro, we know what's going to happen here. They come in, they spend their money, they sponsor guys that it's whatever, and then they go. And then we're still here. Colt's still here. S&M's still here. Like these brands are still here. And it's like, but we focus on like when those brands come in, it's like all the rage and we talk about them and shit like that. And it's like in skateboarding, that doesn't happen. They don't have that shit that comes in, they dump a bunch of money and it goes. I mean, I'm sure there's examples. I'm not saying it like as like a fact. I'm just saying that it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to just like come in and snatch people up. And I get it. People got to do things for money. You got, if a brand is paying you to advertise, I get it. Like I ride for brands. I get paid by brands. I get it. I get it. It's just like, it's just a weird thing that I think we should just like kind of think about is like, where's that line? And I'm not telling anybody, I'm just asking.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I don't, where is that line? Because what we're doing doesn't work. Straight up doesn't work. So where we fucked it up somewhere along the way. It's just like, I don't know. Like I don't want to like harp on it, because it's like there is no answer. It's just all I know is that I try hard. I work hard. I try to film the best video parts I can. I try to post some cool shit on Instagram that people laugh at. And I do an event. And that's it. And that's all I can do. And I can't control the media. I can't control who sponsors what. Whatever. Who cares, man? Whatever. But like, it's just interesting because it's not working and nobody knows what's going on. No, that's the craziest part is that there's not an expert. Nobody knows what to do. And it's like, how much longer can we do this for?
Yeah.
It's weird, right?
But I mean, like, it's so interesting that you say that because, like, it's not like skateboarding's obviously a little bit further along in terms of like industry or looking after itself or whatever. But BMX has been around for just as long. And the interesting thing that you say, and I just want to kind of hash this out. I know you don't probably want to talk about it, but I think it's just really fucking interesting, right? And you don't get to have these conversations very much. But, like, say Nastasio, let's fucking go back to all the dudes that, like, were the shit in the early 2000s, like, they were riding for the super corporate brands. I just don't know if it's a brand thing. Like, I do think that it's I look at it like this, right? I feel good when someone takes advantage, a BMX that takes advantage of money that's coming in and uses it to further BMX, right? But what I actually would prefer to see that than seeing someone ride for a brand that is kind of doing BMX bikes but not really a BMX company, because I feel like that actually takes away from BMX. So, like, for example, say if you stopped riding for Colt and started riding for fucking Huffy, right? Like, I feel like I'd way prefer you to just not ride for a BMX bike brand at all and try and get money from fucking Monster or whatever it is, because at least then you're not taking like someone who wants a Trey Jones bike isn't taking it away from the BMX industry and putting it in the
Yeah,
cycling industry. But yeah, it's just an interesting one, man. Like, I think that I like to say that the good old days are now. I've said that a bunch to try and like help people to understand that BMX is fucking as sick as you can make it right now.
yeah, for
But
sure, for
but
sure.
there's something to be said about that early 2000s, that mid school era where it was
Yeah,
like
for
fucking
sure.
heroes and warriors, and yeah, people would give shit to other people about fucking landing on resi or grass or the fucking
Yeah,
the
for
turn
sure.
down wasn't clicked, or it's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's and I agree. It's like, and I don't. I get conflicted because it's like I look around, like, like my collection of shit, and I'm like, I love BMX. I love, like, I do love it. I love going. I'm gonna, after this, I'm gonna go ride with my homies. We're gonna go fix a spot because somebody wants to get a clip, and it's like, I love that. I love making videos. I love filming video parts. I love riding with my friends. That's it. I think that I think I was talking about it with Robbie, like, yesterday, is that we were talking about, we're like, why does it bother us? Why does it bother us? And I was like, because we love it, dude. We love it. And when you see someone that's like, that doesn't love it as much as you, and they're fucking shit up, you get mad because you love it and you are giving a fuck and you are trying to make a difference. So it's like, I tried, like, to be like, not like negative Nelly, just like,
Mm.
rah, 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 this sucks, that sucks, da, 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 da. Even though I know that it comes off like that. Um, but I just want people to think about the shit that they're doing. It's like, I don't want to be the screaming vegan being like, you guys are assholes because you eat meat. Da, da, da. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not trying to be that guy. And honestly, if somebody thinks I'm that guy, they can go fuck themselves. I don't care. I really don't care. But it's like, I just want people to be like, I'm not telling you, I am asking you, is this shit fucked up?
Mm.
Why?
Mm.
Let's look at it. Look at it for a little bit. You don't have to do a goddamn thing if you don't want to. Nobody has to do anything. They can do whatever they want. But some shit ain't right. That's
Mm.
all I know. Like, I know some shit ain't right. So obviously what we're doing doesn't work. So let's just, like, rewind, take a step back, like, because I think that's a big thing in, not to keep harping about it, but like, in BMX, like, if I have the urge to post shit all the time, then I'm like, no, fuck, I can't say that. No, I can't say that. Or if I do say something negative, I get these people, like, barking back at me, being like, why are you criticizing someone for doing what they love? And I'm like, bro, because I'm doing the same thing and I'm seeing it go down with the ship. So I got to speak up and be like, hey, that's fucked up because this, and this. You can do it if you want, but I mean, some shit's kind of going on, like, and it's, I don't know. It's a weird thing because we love it, but when you try to make money at it, it gets weird. Shit
Mm.
gets weird because you're like, fuck, am I sacrificing am I sacrificing, like, am I selling my passion? Is that weird? Am I weird? Am I crazy? Like, I don't know. No, it's not. Like, and when you see somebody that is not as passionate as you, at least for me, I react with like a my initial reaction is like, God damn it. Oh, like, that's my reaction, even though I have to, like, reel it back and I gotta be like, no, don't say that. Let them do what they want. Like, let it play out. Like, you don't need to prove your point. You don't need to say anything. And I just prove it with my actions, because a lot of times if you bark too much, nobody gives a fuck, and
Mm.
it's like, there's some people that, like, bark so much that it's just like, you're an idiot. Shut up, dude. Like, so
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. There's just been a lot of stuff lately that I see circulating, with it, whether it be like, Joey Cobbs and Brant Moore and all that
Oh
shit. And I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, if you're not qualified, if you don't own a brand, you're not a pro rider, you don't run a shop or a company, or anything like that, and you've made a successful living at it, you need to shut the fuck up because you don't know anything that's going on in BMX. You're not qualified. If you're not qualified, that's like me screaming about being a vegan and I eat meat. You can't if you're not qualified to talk about the subject where like if you just work for a brand, not singling Joey out. I'm just saying anybody going on. If you just work for a brand, you just work for a brand. I don't give a fuck if it's McDonald's or Colt. You know, it doesn't matter. Like you still work for a company. So it's like Robbie, he started that shit from the ground up. Moeller started that shit from the ground up. Ronnie started from the ground up. You know what I mean? Or even pro riders that have like made themselves valuable. Dennis Anderson made himself valuable. Nobody else did. He made himself valuable by perfecting his craft and making sure his shit's valuable. Garrett Reynolds, same thing. It's like those people have like built something that they own and like they cherish. They didn't just like apply for a job and they're like, I'm a team manager now, so this is my opinion. And it's like you could get fired and they bring the next guy in, and then he's gonna be like, this is my opinion. And it doesn't work like that. So it's like I think there's just been a lot of stuff happening recently where it's like I see people chatting in comments and stuff talking about pro riders and like questioning if like they are like if they're valuable to brands or like, you know, companies, you know, understand they can't pay them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you wanted to buy a Blue Falcon, not because of Schwinn, because of Brian Foster. You wanted to buy a Fit Series 2 because of Mike Aiken, not because of Fit. Like, I can't even believe that you have to even explain that pro riders are important. And if pro riders aren't important to you, then you're a soulless fucking piece of shit. You don't get it. And you never will. Like, and if you don't get it, then get the fuck out of here. You know, like it's just I just hate when I see people that aren't like they're not passionate about it or whatever. Just if you have to explain why a pro rider is important to a brand, you're an idiot.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, come on now.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like, Chris Will wears the DA jersey. You know, that's important. Yeah, you get it. It's synopsis with the thing. He did the video part, the Oasis song. It's like that means something. That means something. And if it doesn't mean anything to you, then like you're not meant to do this shit in the first place. Yeah, you know, like it's just, and it's like if you say that, then you're a fucking asshole. But
I think you, yeah, I think you. No way, dude. I love it. I love hearing some real shit. You know, I think it's important for and you know, to get back to it, like. This will be the last little bit we'll talk about this sort of shit, and we can talk about some stuff that people will perceive as positive. But I just think that like you're 100% right. Like the quality of stuff has gone down, whether that's because people are too busy fucking putting their B- stuff on Instagram all the time. Like, I mean, I'm definitely a mediocre bike rider that's lucky enough to still be involved with BMX, but I do that all the time because
we're all guilty. Yeah, we're all guilty of fucking the whole thing up. So it's like nobody in this shit is innocent. Like, you know, as far as like, you know, like I'm like I've only put out quality stuff because I'm the best. Definitely not. I'm definitely guilty, so I don't want anything to think that I'm preaching like I'm putting out the holy video part and I'm the man. So I've definitely put out some bullshit on Instagram, you know.
Yeah. But I think that like one of the biggest things is I think that people just need to be creative, you know, and whether that's creative through doing events or like just actually thinking about like creating, as lame as it's going to sound, like art, man. Like you gotta think of it as more than just like ticking shit off the list. Like, you know, I involve myself with the Olympic riders. Like Australia's big for it, right? Like I'm in no way like, of course I'm 38 years old, so I'm not even fucking thinking about like being an Olympic rider or whatever, but you know, like I'm hanging out with all these Olympians and things like that, but what I want them to see is the fact that they can contribute to this side of BMX that we've been talking about for the past hour. You know, I want Logan and fucking all the crew to come to events that are DIY. I want them to mix in with the riders. I want people to you know, because I don't want them to show that BMX is just this narrow, I can do this trick, this trick, this trick, and it puts me on the podium. You know, I want people to see them fucking. When you see Logan do a 3 table in real life, it's actually like people will fucking be like, "Wow, that's one of the best 3 tables you could do."
Yeah.
But if you only see it on Instagram, and then you see him do like something else that's like ridiculously hard or whatever by like the Olympic standards, then kids will just think like, oh, that's just another trick I have to do. That's not like I'm not chasing a feeling. I'm not looking for where I can do it the sickest. You know, like if I just do a 3 invert over a resi, it's all good. Like, so I personally think that kids or everyone needs to think about the way that they can contribute creatively to BMX, because I feel like BMX is the most creative platform, and we've kind of lost that a little bit.
We definitely mess shit up by. I always give the example, and I don't know the answer, but it's like you don't see skateboarders doing quadruple kickflips down stair sets.
They could, but
Why is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Why is that? Like they only do one. They want to do one, and they still just do a kickflip. If somebody just did a bar spin down a set of stairs, they'd be like, yeah, loser, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's just like an interesting thing to me.
It's very true.
I don't know, like I think the progression, I think the idea of like progression in BMX is going to be a huge demise because you can't keep up. There is a level, there is a top that you can't go anymore. Yeah. And I think a big of it is like, we're there. We're at the ceiling now of it can't go further. And when it can't go further, then what is it? I don't know. It's just an interesting thought that I like, that like it's it should be how you do it.
Yeah, style should definitely be at the precipice of the mountain, you know.
And that takes, you know, I don't like it's I don't know. It's just one of those things that it's like there is no answer. There's no answer, but there's definitely a lot of factors that seem like are making things worse and not better. And I love BMX with all my heart. I literally watch videos constantly to this day. But it's like, I think that's why it hurts so much whenever I get frustrated about things and people putting opinions out there and all that shit, is because I do love it so much and I do care so much, and it has been my life. I literally know like every single thing in my life is from bike riding. I have nothing in my life without bike riding. I met my wife through BMX. I have this house because of BMX. The only person I know that's not from BMX is my brother, and we ride almost every day together. Every person I know is because of BMX. Like, I will never say, you know, BMX sucks or whatever, or that it's dead or whatever, because it has given me every single thing in my life, and I love it so much. But there's definitely some shit that I cannot stand, and I can't keep my mouth shut because I care so much. You know what I mean? I don't know. I try to do my part and lead by example. And if somebody doesn't like me because of it, then they can go fuck themselves. I don't really care.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all you can do, dude, is just lead by example.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure. I think that's why, like, to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I closing down the shop and just working on just backboning the brand, because I feel like, I want to be able to be more creative within BMX. I want to be able to do more events and shit like that, you know, and you can't do that when you're just like we're trying to sell. Trying to sell other people's bike. I actually feel like this is on a separate sort of topic, but one of the things that I haven't had a chance to talk about this with anyone is just that I feel like shops are very underappreciated as pushers of like trying to build a brand. I feel like a brand there's not many brands, S&M, Colt, you know, all the hardcore brands are doing a good job at like building the brand so that kids are excited to get those brands. But then everything else, like we're trying to like sell all these other bike parts with people, but it's like the shops are trying to work so hard at doing that, but there's not really like that backup with brands.
Yeah.
Probably what you're saying. There's no team trips and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's weird, dude.
Yeah,
It's definitely
yeah.
it's you have to be as a as a pro bike rider, you have to be internally motivated and internally make up your videos, make up your trips, all that stuff. Because if you sit back, this is way it worked in 2012, 13, whatever, when I was 20, sit back, hang out. Robbie calls, hey, we're doing a trip for Talk is Cheap. We're going to go to Austin next week for 10 days. You want to go? Yep, no problem. I go on the trip, get footage, come back. Shadow calls, hey, can you go to Arizona next week? We need you to film a STEM promo with Chadwick. Da, da, da. Yep, no problem. Go out, film a STEM promo, get home. Vans is like, hey, we're going to do this trip. We want you to go out with Justin Cosman. You film it. Yeah, no problem. While I'm there, I do some cult stuff too. I go out, film with Vish, Navaz, whoever. And like, that's how it used to be. The phone used to ring and it was like, I'm just here, use me at your expense, like to sell your product. Now that costs a lot, flying me somewhere, getting me a hotel, all that stuff, paying a filmer. So I get it. Sales down, not enough money, not enough trips. But what happens is that it's like when you don't do the marketing side of it, how are you going to sell the thing? How do you sell the STEM if there's no promo?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's just, hey, can you set up your phone in your backyard and film, you do a tire slide and we'll just put a graphic over it and then put Trey STEM now available. Not saying that happened. I'm just using it as an example of theoretically in this day and age, that's what would happen. Why would a kid buy that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden I'm supposed to be a social media like marketing manager. Like I'm supposed to be the billboard company. Like I'm supposed to it's just not saying it's right or wrong, but it is a weird thing, right? Like we used to put a lot of effort into like selling this product and the sales were a reflection of that. Now we don't put any effort into selling stuff and the sales are down. Like that kind of, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Like I'm not like it's like coincidence. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Like it seems like brands that do stuff like Cult, they are doing the best. They do trips, they do videos. They sell the most stuff. Like I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. Like, and I understand it's like marketing dollars are usually the first thing that get cut. The marketing dollars are usually the first thing that gets cut. That's how you sell the shit. I don't own a company. I can't talk shit about either way. I don't know. I'm not like, and all I'm saying is that like, from my experience of when I was a pro bike rider in 2013 to now, shit's different and it seems different. But to your point, when I was saying it was like, it's internal, like when I did No Fun, that was my idea. Like I wanted to film a video part. No brand wanted to pay for it. So I got all my sponsors to chip in. And the only way that I could afford to pay Chadwick is if we try to sell the video so I can get him paid. Because I'm already getting paid to ride. So I don't need to get paid. But somebody's got to pay him. And we got to buy tickets. We got to stay at hotels, all that stuff. So it's like I did all that, figured it out, got a little from here, put some of my own money into it, got him paid. We did the video. And then it's like, everybody's like, dude, that part was so sick. That was awesome. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, that was my idea. Like, like not saying that a brand took credit for it or whatever, but like the brands were hyped, everybody was hyped, they were stoked on it, and I'm like, yeah, this is what we do. Like, where y'all been? Like, this is what you do. You go on a few trips, you film, put out a video part, and people were like, damn, that's fucking awesome, and like as a pro bike rider, you see the results of that, like
that's right.
Hyped, like it's like, and it's just, but no brand is to tell me, hey, we want you to go on 3 trips. We're going to go here. I have to figure that out. I have to figure it out as a rider. And that's fine because I function better that way anyways. Like I don't like going on team trips because I don't ride the same shit as everybody else. Like I don't function well when I have to go to a school that everybody wants to ride the rail and I have to find something to do because I settle for mediocre shit. Where it's like if I can just do what I want and go to my own spots and go to some weird quarter pipe or whatever and I get a tabletop on it, check, like I'm good, you know?
Mm.
So it's you just I think just nowadays you have to be more internally motivated as a pro bike rider, um, versus depending on the brands to put you in that situation. Is that right or wrong? I don't know, but that's
Yeah.
just the way it is.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I don't know if you've ever watched the Epically Lated series that Vice did. Like, yeah, yeah. There's this one with Antoine Dixon, and it's just it's just always stuck with me because he talks about how, I think it's the documenter, talks about how Antoine basically was barely skateboarding, but he would get the call and be like, "Yo, we need a photo," and he'd fucking go
Yeah,
and switch heel, like a set of
yeah,
stairs, and that'd just keep
yeah.
his like his professional
And he ride
skateboarder
for a
career,
while.
yeah, his professional
Yeah,
skateboarding career alive for another, 3 months or something,
yeah,
and that could be seen as negative, but I actually think that's fucking pretty sick. Like if you are willing to put in the work when it comes, so, when you get the call, then I think
yeah.
that's fucking. I don't know. Like,
It doesn't matter what he's doing as long as he's promoting the brand, he's selling boards. Doesn't matter what he's doing.
that's right.
Doesn't matter
Yeah,
what he's doing.
dude.
He's doing his job. Like
I
he got the
mean,
photo, got the
yeah,
clip, he sold some
exactly,
boards. There you go. Like, that's
exactly.
that's all. That's all it has.
Like if
So
like if Chris Doyle hypothetically was writing for a brand and he put out 3 minutes of footage right now that was sick, dude, I'd be like tempted to buy whatever the fuck that was. I was almost tempted to buy a Huffy when I was
yeah, for
fucking
sure.
15 years old, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it's
for
so
sure.
funny.
Yeah, yeah. You were about to buy a TL88 because you saw
Yeah,
the Todd Lyons. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so funny.
But it's funny. It's funny when I bring that type of shit up. I'll like bring that shit up to like somebody that's older. Like somebody like John Paul Rogers. That's like he was in his 30s when that came out. And he's like, that shit was so gross. Ew, what the fuck? And I was like, dude, I was 8 years old. I thought it was so cool. And he's like, fuck that shit, dude. We all hated it. And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, oh no, I thought it was pretty cool. But you look back now and you're like, yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of loved it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's so funny how that shit works.
It
So
is.
it's like then you like kind of be like, wait, that's kind of going like kids with camo tires. Now you're like, what the fuck? And you're like, the kid's like, I love this. And you're like, but that kid's gonna look back one day and he's gonna be like, dude, those cold camo tires were the sickest thing ever. Like, so
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
whatever.
I know, that's right.
Kids riding, whatever. As long as
Exactly.
they're buying shit, yes, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So you're about to start building for Swampfest 2025. What's the story with that?
Yeah, I think the official date that we're gonna be starting is on February 18th. I try to cut it down to about a month before. Um and I have like a pull behind camper that I keep on site. So like we all just like crash in that and just stay on site and just
Cool.
just kind of fucking hammer it out till it's done. But we've actually been going because at last year we had to start from scratch. Like we had literally like we had it was a brand new facility, so it was like we had to build jumps from scratch. We had to like everything was like I had to like literally build a shed to keep my tools in. It was like we literally were starting from like all we had to build all the infrastructure. But
Hmm.
now this year we have the bowls already there, the jumps are already there. So we've actually been my homie Joey that works at Sparky's, that I've known forever. He had the Castleberry Trails growing up and shit like that. So
Oh, cool.
he's doing the jumps and he works at Sparky's for as product development. So we've actually just been going out there on the Swampfest on the weekends and just like dialing the jumps in. I got like two more loads of clay, so we're just kind of like going through the line and just like dialing everything. That way when the build starts, they're all done and like good to go.
Mm.
Um, and then Boone and Little John are in town building a skate park actually.
Mm.
And Boone is doing we're doing an addition on the bowl.
Oh, sick.
So we're taking that. Yeah, so we built that wooden quarter pipe in that bowl for the intention of doing an expansion this year. So that was first order of business. They went out there and he plucked the wooden quarter pipe out, dug everything out, ran drainage, and now he's gonna start the other. So it'll be an even bigger bowl now,
Holy
which will be
shit.
really cool.
Wow.
But they're in town building a skate park, so I was like, yo, we're gonna go out to Swampfest this weekend because it's like 2 hours from my house,
Hmm.
from Central Florida. So I was like, oh, we're gonna go out this weekend. If you guys want to go, we can go hang out and go camp out there for the weekend. So it was kind of cool. They came out, and I think that's kind of what we're gonna do for like the next few weekends is just kind of go out there and just like piddle around and do a little bit of stuff just to try to get a little bit ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the wood starts, like I have to focus all my energy on like building the wooden
Yeah,
ramps. I
yeah.
can't really focus on anything else. And so yeah, so it'll be good. We're kind of already started. Rough start. I try to I tried to get my camper out there like a few weeks ago. I tried to like slowly get things going out there so I'm not just bombarded with like I got to drive the camper out there. I got to get out there to do the jumps. I got to get, like cuz if I leave it all for like the actual build, then I can't even focus on the build itself. So there's a lot of like pre Swampfest shit that I have to do all that shit. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
man.
February is when we're starting officially.
Yeah, sick. When's the actual date for it?
The official date of Swampfest is the 15th. God, dude, I keep forgetting. March 15th, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Let me check the flyer. I believe that's what it is. Yeah, it is March 14th and 15th. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
And then, what are you going to do? Have you got anything else planned for after Swampfest? Or your brain only goes to March 15, and then it's a brave new world after that.
Oh yeah, my wife's like, thank God I have my husband back. This is great. Like literally whenever I'm doing Swampfest, it's like she's like, you're gone, your brain's gone. I don't even talk to you. You just go out there, just live fine, do whatever you want, like. But no, after Swampfest, I'm actually been working on a shadow part this year.
Oh, sick.
So I was supposed to go on a trip like a week ago, but like I was telling you before, I got sick and I couldn't go. So I'm doing like a Phoenix Vegas trip to ride pools after Swampfest, and then I think I'm gonna be starting a cult part with Vish this year. So
Oh, sick.
kind of shifting gears. Like once Swampfest is done, it's funny. All my sponsors kind of know like, hey, Trey shut down from the beginning of the year till Swampfest. Like don't like just just let him do his thing. Like they don't ask me to do anything. They don't ask me like because they just know that's my focus. Which is cool that they're cool with that. Like I'm literally not riding or doing anything like leading up to Swampfest. Like I'm just like pretty much turned into a full-time construction worker. So it'll be sick though because I think Corey Walsh he's gonna help me build some stuff. I think he said he's gonna be there like probably a week or two in because he's building like a concrete bowl near his house, and then I think Jason's coming. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
well, I mean, he said that he was, so.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know he's definitely gonna come to the event, but as far as building goes, I know that he's like swamped in California building some shit. No pun intended, but it's so I think that I actually should probably hit him up to find out. So
yeah,
but yeah. So but most of the time, honestly, dude, most of the time it's just on the weekends. It's just like my dad comes out and all the homies come out and they're just like, okay, what are we doing? And we're just like, all right, let's build some quarter pipes. And then like I just kind of get everybody set up and just like everybody knows how to use tools and shit like that. So it's like it's super fun. It really is a really fun environment like when we're doing the build because it's just like I don't know, you're just outside in the dirt like the whole time and it's you're building something that like you don't have a blueprint. You don't know what's really going to happen as far as like the course layout. Like you have a rough idea of like, okay, there has to be something here. Like I do have a few ideas for ramps, but it's like it's not in anybody else's head but mine. So I'm just like, how am I going to figure out? I think it needs to be like, and I'm just like thinking in my head of how it should go. And it also just depends on like what sponsors we get, how many branded obstacles we have, things like that. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy, man. This year is gonna be pretty. I don't want to give away what we're gonna build yet, but it's gonna be pretty shocking.
Oh, sick.
I kind of dug myself in a hole with all these fucking themes now.
Yeah.
Now everybody's like, what's the theme next year? And I'm like, damn it, great,
we're going to space.
Cool. Yeah, now everybody's like, no, you gotta build this, you gotta build this, and it's like, it's hard. It's pretty hard to think of something that one you can do a theme around that's possible to build without like spending an absorbent amount of money and like that's good to ride. It's hard to like figure it out because all people were like, you should do UFO and do spaceship theme. I'm like, dude, how could I can't build like 50 bowl corners to make this thing. I don't have the time to do that. Like, or the skill. Like, how am I gonna like, so you have to like kind of think of shit that's like, okay, I think we could build that. Yeah, okay, or that makes sense, like we could figure that out, whatever. And it's gotta work, and yeah, it's definitely a lot. It's cool. I'm stoked. I'm stoked that like we started doing the themes because people are really they get really into it, which is cool.
Mm.
But it definitely puts some pressure on to like,
Yeah, man.
what are you gonna build this year? And I'm like, and like I'm just trying to figure out what to do. So,
Dude, it's
but
sick,
yeah,
man. It's definitely built. Yeah, if we're talking about creativity in BMX, like before, fucking hell, like there's not many events that are as creative as Swampfest. So it's fucking sick, dude.
I mean, that's all Dave McDermott. That's Dave is my main guy. He was like a pro rider that rode for Scavenger back in the day, and he does every bit of Swampfest artwork. He does all the flyers. He does everything. And so whenever I have like an idea and I'm like, hey, like I remember the one year we did the big ass alligator head that had the rail that came out of it. And I was like, damn, dude, it'd be sick if we could build like a huge gator head. He's like, yeah, I think I could build that. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, I think I got it. And then I just like let him go. And then the next day I look over there and there's a 20-foot tall alligator head that's like the scale is perfect. Like that, like I'm like, how did you build this? He's like, I don't know. And you look at it, it's just like a bunch of random pieces of wood they just like kind of screwed together. And he's a genius. He's a genius whenever it comes to like the artistic side of shit. Like even like with the pirate ship, I was like, dude, how are we gonna make it look like wood? He's like, I think I got it. He just like spray painted it to like look like little planks of wood, like an old pirate ship. And I was like, you're a genius. So huge shout out to him. He helps me a ton with all the graphics. I just let him kind of design all the merch, do whatever he wants. I just like, so then I don't have to worry about getting it done and hitting up an artist and all that shit. So it's definitely crazy, dude. I can't believe like where it's at this point. Like I can't believe like I was saying before, like it's kind of outgrown me, which is just like so bizarre.
Yeah, it's sick that
I'm stoked that it's doing something good for BMX.
Oh, dude, 100%. Yeah, one of my friends, Troy, has actually been. He was at one of the early Swampfests, I'm pretty sure. So,
did he used to live in Florida?
No, he's from
Troy?
he's from here, from Canberra, but he's mates with like the FT dudes.
Yes, yeah, I know
Troy Harrod. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was frothing. I think he wants to try and get back there because, like I said, he's mates with all those dudes, the FTE dudes. So.
Yeah, they're all from Orlando. So it's cool. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Whenever I think about like who's came to Swampfest and who's there.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
Or the funny thing that we always say is that we're like after the event we're like, hey, did you see that so and so was here? And then I'll be like, really? And they're like, yeah, you didn't see him. They'll show a photo and be like, yeah, look. And I'm like, I didn't even see him all weekend. Like, they're like, hey, did you see Troy McMurray was here? And I'm like, what?
Holy shit.
Like, yeah, Trey Jones, see the video? And I'm like, dude, I didn't even see. Like, so it's like there's so many crazy things that happen. Like, or you'll just like walk around the corner and be like, what are you doing? Like, Dave Cooper's there, or like, or someone crazy is like that you would just never think, and or like Dave Frymouth, or I remember last year I like looked over and Mark Losey was there. And
oh,
I was
crazy.
And he was just by himself, just walking, just like walking over the course, just like check shit out. I walk over and like I'm not like Losey put me on Nike when I was like, God, 13 maybe. So I've known him like I remember being at my mom and dad's house, and there was a call on the landline, and it would say like the caller ID, like who it was, and it said Losey Mark, and I was like, this is the guy that shoots all Dave Mira's photos. Like that's like my first thought, because anytime I saw a photo of Mira, it said Losey, and I was just like, holy shit. And like he gave me shoes when I was younger, so it's like to see him now and I'm like, fuck, dude, that's so crazy.
That is
like
crazy.
That you're here like 15 years later at my event because you wanted to see it. I'm like, it's just so crazy when things come full circle like that, where you're like, fuck, dude, like you were such a big a part of like making this happen and you didn't even know. So it's like it's cool when you see people like that. But yeah, Swampfest brings out all types of people. It's like, from old. I always get so when I see the older pros or like somebody that you don't know randomly. On that same topic, we were doing the build. I was literally talking about this last weekend because it was so funny. But we're doing the build. It was the year of the castle, and we're like, we're building the castle, and it's at a moto park, so a lot of the moto dudes will just like roll up, and they're just like, they're complete douchebags. They're just like look at your shit, and they're just like, what the fuck, or whatever, and they like just pull away, or they'll just roll up and sit there and stare, but they're wearing goggles, so you can't see anything, and so this one dude, like, we're like, I'm like up on top of the castle, like nailing shit in, and we're just like in the zone, music on, just going. And like this dirt bike dude pulls at the bottom and he's just kind of looking up and like looking around and stuff. And I'm like, oh, just some moto dude. And then he goes over to where the jumps are, and I see him like take his helmet off, and he's like, he hugs Dave King because Dave was working on the jumps.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, weird. I'm like, that's weird. I wonder if I don't know, maybe it's just some homie that Dave knew or whatever. And then they talk for a little bit, and then he, goes out of the track, and we're just still building. And then later on the night, I was like, "Oh, Dave, yeah, who was that moto guy that came over?" And he said, "Oh, that was Punjab."
Oh no shit! Fuck, that's crazy.
I was like, what? I was like, it was Punjab, and he's like, yeah, he actually lives down here and he rides moto. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I just saw him pull up and look and stare at me, and I'm like, who's this dork, like, moto dude rolling up, whatever. Didn't even give him the time of day, didn't even talk to him, nothing. Just like kind of kept going, like just thinking some random guy, and he's Punjab. So funny. So it's like it's random when things like that happen,
Yeah, dude, that's fucking sick. Hey, one thing I did want to talk about just quickly was obviously you've got a big love of like that mid school, early 2000s stuff, but I wanted to know like what were some of your biggest influences from that era? Like, do you have like things that stand out to you, video parts, things of that nature?
Corey Anastasio, Bully era. I watched a DK Dirt Circuit 1996. I was 4 years old.
Wow.
He did a Superman, a no-foot can, a backflip, and I was like, that's it. Living the rest of my life. Done.
Fuck, like, that's pretty life-changing, dude.
Like it was like straight away, because he was from Florida, and he was just like the local guy. And it's even funny because like people will say now, they're like, if you watch that contest, it's like he has shorts on, no shirt, Florida guy, and I'm like, holy fuck, like that. It's me. Like it's literally it's like what I turned into. And it's like weird that like, yeah, obviously I don't ride like Corey Anastasio, but it's like that was such a huge like it was a huge like subconscious thing that happened to me, that where I was just like, cool, that's what I'm gonna do the rest of my life. Like I never my entire life, like I mean, I literally started riding BMX when I was 4 years old. That's like when your memories start. That's literally, I mean, like, so I don't remember my life without bike riding at all. And there was not a shadow of a doubt my whole life that I was like, I'm gonna be a pro bike rider. That's what I'm gonna do. Like from the time I was 4 years old, I was like, I'm just gonna grow up. I'll be a pro bike rider. That's what I'll do. And I'll, like I didn't even know if you can make money. I was just like, that's what I'm gonna do. And lo and behold, that shit happened somehow. But then I look at it now and I'm like, that is insane. That is insane that I was like, that's what I'm gonna do, and it happened. But I think I would say like some of like the biggest influences on me, like as when I went to my first Roots Jam, I got Props issue 32. It's the one with Ralph Sinisi on the cover, doing the feeble grind on the ledge. That was a huge video that I watched over and over and over again. Etnies Forward, Mission of Nonsense. Trying to think what other videos. All the Shine videos I watched. Like looking at my collection of videos. Like
yeah.
All the shit. All the early Baco videos, because obviously Chad, grew up around or lived around here when I was growing up. So a lot of just honestly, like I was just consumed by it. I even notice it now. Like if I like I'll just be like randomly on YouTube. Like I try to make sure, this is kind of weird, but like I try not to follow any BMX on Instagram at all. Like I try to like not see bike riding at all unless it's like a close friend of mine or someone that I know personally. I try to like not see BMX at all because it started like ruining my like I was just getting more upset because I was just so bombarded by I was following Dig and Hour and all this stuff and it was just like it was just too much to where I was just like I don't want to see bike riding at all. But I even notice it now if I'm on YouTube and like an old video pops up and it's playing, I'll just like I just like zone out. I'm just like you're like locked in, and I'll just be like, oh my god, I can't believe I would just like watch like 4 videos like randomly like Seth Kimro's Salvation part popped up today, and I or like on like Snakebite like it would just like popped up, and I was like, oh, I had that video growing up, that was so good, and I watch it and I'm like listening to the song, and I'm like memorizing like oh I know this part of the song where it like has this breakdown and he does like the nollie ice and then fakey full caps like I'm just like instantly like my brain is just like I remember every single scenario, every single thing that happened, and it still sucks me into this day, and it's like that's the way it was when I was a kid where it was just like bike videos, bike videos, bike videos, bike videos. That's all I did was just watch those videos every single day, like all day long, same videos, didn't give a shit, and it's just like I think it's just really ingrained in my brain of like these, even like I didn't have all the road fools. I didn't have all the videos. Like I had I had Road Full 7 because it was the Florida one. I had Road Fulls 11, 10, 12, 1, and 5. I didn't like those were like the ones I watched a lot when I was a kid, but I didn't like I wasn't like my mom and dad weren't just like we're gonna buy you every single video because that's what you're obsessed with. It was just like whatever you got at the contest, and you got your goodie bag at the end. There was a few videos in there. That was what was in circulation. You know what I mean? Like so. But yeah, as far as my influences, like those were like the videos I would say that were like a big influence on me. Ford was probably the one though that I watched like religiously, and I think that kind of has formed my like that is BMX. That is the perfect. That is 100% the perfect video. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Ford is the perfect video. The perfect riders, perfect filming, perfect music. And like to this day, I'm like, that is what makes BMX good. Like good filming, good riding, good music.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like it's in my brain of just like knowing every single song, every single moment when the slow-mo hits right at the perfect time. And it's like that's just like the shit that's like in my soul of like a person is like that shit. You know what I mean? Like I love that shit so much. So it's like even like it was funny, like one of my favorite video parts that I used to watch all the time was Chris Hardy's part in the Backbone video.
Really?
Like that. But it's like there's like that part where it's like he's riding those big ass jumps in the field and it's like at sunset and he does like this 1 foot tave that's just like so effortless, but and he whips it out like just enough to where it's like perfect. And I'm like, that's the shit, dude. That's the fucking shit. That it's like if you get it, you get it. Like you're a lifer. But if you don't get it, then you're not meant for this shit at all. You know what I mean? But it's like that's that video was one of my favorites growing up. Like watching, or not even growing up, but like even being older. Like I mean, what year that video come out? Like 20.
Our video 2015.
Yeah, 15. Yeah. So around that time, yeah. But yeah, his part's so fucking good, dude. With that song and shit, right, his big ass jumps.
Yeah, man.
So
that song, because we did an all Australian soundtrack, so every song's Australian in that video. And it took a bit of convincing. We had to actually put it on the timeline with the song. And I was like, just sit there and watch the unedited shit. And he's like, oh yeah, I could see how this would work. Like, I'm so glad we use it because
if you listen to that song by itself and pretty sure Chris is writing, it's like that doesn't really make sense. But then you see the part and you're like, oh my god, it's so good. Like it's so fun. Like even that banger where he's a 3 1 foot tave look back. Oh god, that shit's so like that's like the closest to like a Mike Aiken-esque like 3 1 foot tave to look back,
yeah, with the
he's like
back wheels higher than the front wheel.
Yeah, like when they do when like him and Mikey do that trick, like they do a dip 3. So it's like by the time they get to the look back, they're so nosedive that their back end is like straight in the air.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy looking. Like when they just like, like so good. That's a trick that not many people can make look good.
Yeah, true.
Like so,
Yeah.
Him and Mikey though, with that trick. Oh
Oh
my
man.
god, that's the shit, you know.
Yeah,
But
for sure. Dude,
yeah,
it's so Etnies 4 was the last video that I got on VHS. And yeah, that was like
you
one
said
of
you're
the
38.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
so I'm 32. So I feel like that like early 2000s was like more of like my because the Roots Jam was in Orlando, so like that was like when like I would get like a lot of videos like the goodie bag there.
mm, yeah, yeah.
That was like I feel like that was when I started getting like a lot of videos and like riding contests more. So like that was I feel like that was like one of the first like around 2000 because like I like Nowhere Fast and Seek and Destroy were like a little bit early for me like as a
Yeah,
kid.
me
Like that was
too.
a little bit like as I got older then I went back and I watched it, but I didn't have those videos growing up because I think that was a little bit past my like generation,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean same
A
goes for
little bit.
me, but it was only really because like I didn't really get videos until I was probably 15 just because there was no BMX shops. I'd have to like fucking drive for hours to get to a BMX shop. But yeah, Forward was the last VHS, and then Wide Awake Nightmare was my first DVD.
That's another
Afterwards,
one. That's
and
another one.
fuck, man, I like, yeah, I'm like you, dude. Like, I actually go on one of the channels that I watch on YouTube is I think his name's Dave Mavro Cam,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. Dave Maverick.
he's got like all
All the raw
fucking
shit.
oh, dude, it's so sick. Like, I love seeing
It's
all
so
that.
good.
Yeah,
I like all the practice footage
all
and
the
like
practice
YouTubers
footage
like
is
that.
so
Yeah,
sick.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because
it's
it's all the guys that didn't do well in the contest, and you're like,
mm,
holy shit, like that guy was there. Like, why was that? You know, like it's that yeah, that shit's sick. That's Mavro's channel is he's the shit. I filmed um do you remember Fuel TV back in the day?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I had like they did like a thing with like younger kids, and I had like a New Pollution. That was what it was called, and it was like they did it with like younger guys. I think like Mad Dog did one, Garrett Reynolds did one. I don't know, a few other people. But anyways, Mavro filmed it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he filmed it when I was like 14, and he at that point he was like working his way like kind of out of BMX like late 2000s. So like I got to know him through that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was kind of already into the commercial stuff. But I didn't know that he was from Florida and he
Oh,
grew up in
wow.
the area. Shit, no way, dude. Like so then like I got to know him and stuff like that. Like it's funny because even my grandpa would be like, you ever still talk to that guy Dave Mavro that came and filmed that thing? I was like, yeah. And he's like, that guy was nice, and I'm like, it's so funny.
That's so sick. That's
Yeah, but Mavro is the shit. He was really cool.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that era, dude. Like, I would love to somehow contribute to recreating that in 2025 and beyond. You know, like I think that what you're doing with Swampfest and that no barrier between the rider who's the hero and the fucking DIY blue collar rider. I think that's like the era that we need to head into more. You know, so fucking hats off to you, dude. It's
oh, thank you, man.
sick,
Thanks.
man.
It's like, dude, it's like I don't look for like credit or like I don't want like any of that shit from like anybody. If like, you know, I just try to do my part, you know what I mean? And that's why like I am vocal about shit in BMX, because it's like I do something. I do something about it. Like I'm not bitching. I am stating what's going on. And I feel strongly about the shit that I feel, you know, like I feel strongly about my beliefs. And it's because I love BMX so much. And I know sometimes it doesn't come off like that. It comes off as like a barking, like, you know, opinionated dickhead thing. But I feel like if you do something, then you're a part of the solution. Don't be a part of the problem, you know? Because it's like this shit, like if we keep letting water into the boat and we don't pail it out, the ship's gonna sink. You know what I mean? And it's like doing events, doing videos, doing things like that. That's all getting water out of the boat. You know what I mean? But if you're just taking money and just taking that check and taking that check and taking that check, you're just sinking the boat just as fast as anybody, dude. Like, you know, it's like, and if you don't give a fuck, then that's great. You know, good for you. Like, you know, like you're entitled to that too. Like if you just want to ride and you don't care about where the industry goes, that's fine. But it's like if you want the shit to keep going, then maybe do something.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know how much longer this shit. I don't know how much longer this shit's gonna be around for. But yeah, it's a weird thing, man.
Mm.
BMX. I love it to death, but god damn, it drives me crazy. Gives me gray hair.
Dude, well, man, I think that you're fucking killing it. So regardless of whether you
Thank you.
take the praise
Thank
or
you.
not, I think it's been sick to watch the evolution of it all, and it'd be sick to have you come to Australia and come to Act Jam one time.
Dude,
If I can make that, if I
Jason's
can,
been telling me about that for years.
yeah, if I can write a good enough email to potential sponsors, if I've got cash, I'll get you here for sure.
Okay, deal. I'll be there.
I did
I'll be
that
there.
when I was able to get one of the things a few years ago. I was like, if I can get enough money, I'm fucking flying Stu Johnson and he's gonna film it. And that's why the S&M dudes came, was because I was like, fuck it.
Hell yeah.
So
That's fucking sick.
yeah,
That's awesome. Man.
That's
awesome.
one of my
Yeah,
goals is like, if I can get Crandall over to commentate, if I can make enough money to get people across, and I just want to I just want to create my own, like what you said with the Metro Jams and shit like that, had such an impact on me. So it's like, fuck.
So with Act Jam, you did it at like 2 different places, right? You do it at like there's like, because it's like I've seen footage at like a brewery, right?
Yeah.
And then there's also a skate park.
Yeah.
And there's also a skate park. So how does that work?
So I basically run it where every year is slightly different, so people don't really know what's going to happen, and it's over 3 days. So the first day is at one skate park, which is that Spider Bowl, the Spiderweb Bowl, Belco, and then the next 2 days will be at different places, but it sort of depends on what we've got going on with budget. Like one year it rained, I had to have both days at a big pavilion that I fucking had to rent. It was like crazy expensive. Wow. But this year I'm kind of hoping to, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag just like you too much, but it'll be it's November 7, 8, 9, and I'm hoping to bring those big jumps back for one of the days. I'd really like to do a DIY. We did a street thing last year, but I'd like to try and expand on that and take it to a street spot, but it's always a bit of a bust, so. But yeah, I just like to, I like to keep people guessing. I want to give people a reason to come back every year. I want them to come to it.
Oh, for sure.
That's
cool.
If they come to it in 2021 and they're like, fuck, that was sick. And then they're like, I'm definitely coming back. And then 2022 is like kind of different. They're like, fuck, well, I got to make it back for 2023. So like, that's what I want to do, every year. So
yeah, true. Yeah.
That's
sick, man. Yeah, it looks killer. Jace talks very, very highly of it every time. He's like, I come to Act Jam, gotta come to Act Jam. I'm like, I know. It's a little far, it's a little expensive, dude. Like, it's like, I know, like, because he's always like, oh, you just jump in the van with me, and I'm like, fuck, I fly to Australia and I gotta depend on Jason to be in his van the whole time, and God knows what that'll be like. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we'll figure it out. Like,
I feel like every year
I've only been to Oz once. I only went to Oz for
for the Vans thing. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for Pro Cup. I literally flew out like, God, it was like 4 days after Swampfest, like straight there. And I was like telling Colin, I was like, dude, I can't do this. I can't fucking ride this thing. He's like, just go do what you do. And I was like, I can't. I'm fucking dying. Like, but it was fine. But yeah, it was the only time I've ever been to Australia was to Sydney and shit. And it was I was psyched because I got to ride like the slanted curve wall ride spot that I've always wanted to ride. That's there. So I got to ride that, and I was like, all right, cool. And I was like super jet lagged. I was like wake up like 5 o'clock in the morning, like fuck, dude. Like, but yeah, it was sick. It's actually it's crazy how this is gonna sound so fucking ignorant American, but it's crazy how similar like Australia is to America. Like it's really crazy. Almost made me feel like I was in a different country at some point. Where I was like, fuck, dude, I don't even feel like this is like when you're in like Germany or something like that, you're like, this is different. This is definitely way different. But like Australia is very, I mean, I'm sure there's places that obviously are way different, but like it definitely seemed like it just didn't feel like I was in a different country,
Yeah, for sure. I reckon when I went over to the States, I was like, fuck, this is like bizarro world Australia. Like it's just everything's just a little bit different, like a little bit more. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly. But
yeah, man, I'll hold me to that. I'll try and get you over here. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, well, you gotta come to Swampfest.
Yeah, man.
Come to Swampfest.
Oh, dude, I'd love to do that for sure.
You'd love it. You'd love the jumps and everything. You definitely, I promise you that that you would enjoy yourself.
Yeah, dude, it looks like a good time for sure. All right, man. Well, I'll let you, enjoy the rest of your Friday, right?
It is Friday.
Yeah.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna go meet up with my brother and Marcel, and we're gonna go try to film. We've been working on this video, and we're premiering at Swampfest. So
Oh, sick.
we're like, yeah, we're premiering at Swampfest. So it's like, it's like kind of everybody's got to like get all their shit that's on their list done now because I got to fucking edit this thing and then. They were like, yeah, we should premiere at Swampfest. And I'm like, oh, that'd be great. Now I got to edit a whole full length video by myself.
Oh,
Then I have
fuck.
to do all of Swampfest build, making sure it's someplace. I'm like, I kind of prepared for it. So it's all good. But yeah, so yeah, we're going to go ride and yeah, be good.
Sick, man.
Love enjoy some BMX.
Yeah, bloody oath. Yeah, I'm about to do the same thing.
Hell yeah.
All right, man.
It was a good talk, dude.
Yeah, it was sick, dude. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you, man. All right, brother.
No problem. Hell yeah.
Bye.